Hi, welcome back to the Vendo podcast. I'm Michelle Long, the Walmart marketing strategist on our team. Shelby, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Shelby, and I am one of the account managers on our Vendo team as well.
Awesome. How about you, Ryan?
I'm Ryan Halford. I'm one of the team leads at Team Direct, who works hand in hand with Vendo, servicing Walmart and Sam's Club.
Awesome. Well, let's just dive right into it. Ryan, you want to go ahead and kind of dive into our relationship with Team Direct and how we partner together to work on the Omni strategy for Walmart?
You bet. So Team Direct is kind of what I would call a one-stop shop for clients selling into Walmart and Sam's Club. And we take and handle everything as it relates to doing business with Walmart, from the day-to-day base reliability of making sure we're in stock and our clients' products are in stock in Walmart, managing through the supply chain aspects of that, and then the sales force as well, where we're meeting with buyers and executives within Walmart and Sam's, presenting items, making sure that we're growing the businesses that we are. And what we've done as an organization is really built out a omni approach as Walmart was working on their transition. So hand in hand with you folks, working side by side to make sure that we're not just servicing and focused on the store aspect of the relationship, but we're thinking about things holistically from online to stores and vice versa. What we found is that customers are more and more savvy, and they want to buy when they want to buy, where they want to buy. And so it's important for us to be thinking about that across each of our clients' portfolio of products of what does that look like online as I'm shopping via mobile, online, but in a store, and then how do I want, and then while I'm in store, how I'm purchasing that. So working with you folks to make sure that we're thinking through everything holistically and then presenting that to Walmart buyers strategically, showing that we're trying to ensure we're taking care of the customer through their journey, both online and in store.
Wow, that was a great summary. I feel like you hit the nail on the head. But before we get into any more details, do you want to kind of share your background on how you landed at Team Direct and where you worked previously?
Sure. So I spent 17 years with Walmart and Sam's Club on the merchandising side for a majority of that, buying toys and electronics. And then on the Sam's Club side, I did some joint business planning, strategy and development. And then the last 6 years was leading the merchandise portfolio for technology, entertainment, and office merchandising for samsclub.com. And so I have a little bit of a history around the connectivity of e-commerce and stores, clubs, business. And we were doing work, and that when I was the senior buyer for computers, working with all of our partners, whether it was e-com and Sam's, to try to create a holistic strategy between Walmart.com, Walmart, Sam's, and SamsClub.com across our product offering. Even 10, 15 years ago, Walmart, as the internet was beginning to become a more important portion of the business, what you found is the move from just using the internet as a research tool has evolved now to where you have access to buy anything from anywhere at any time. And so trying to ensure we were on the front side of that within the merchandising piece. I came, and then when I left, I spent some time at a small broker, and then have been with Team Direct for a little over a year.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
So Ryan, you kind of touched on it, but since the restructuring at Walmart and the omni-channel approach, how has that really impacted your strategy at Walmart, including our side?
I would say it hasn't impacted the strategy because it's important as much as the e-commerce business has grown. If we weren't talking or thinking about it prior to a restructure, then we were behind. I think the importance of that is it's coming more to the forefront and really having to change paradigms where you will have clients that are interested in securing store or club volume, and if they can get that, then it will also service online. But really flipping the script where we can build strong success online that can help catapult items and assortments into stores and clubs. And so I think that the strategy, it's not necessarily the strategy has changed. I think our approach has had to change. because in these meetings where we're talking about new items, we're spending more time talking about how that comes to life both in store and online, and really drilling down into important things like item pages and content and reviews and what we're doing to drive all of that, so that the customer journey as they are online is as important as walking into a store and seeing that online. The change is having that dialogue in these meetings on the front side, and it not being an afterthought or, oh, and here's something else we're doing. We're engaging and thinking through that at the initial conversations with our buyers.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to kind of back up for our listeners, how Ryan and Shelby and I work together is basically we are integrated on several accounts where Ryan is the team lead from the Team Direct side, managing all things brick and mortar, like you mentioned at the start of the podcast. Shelby then comes in and uses her awesome account management strategies from a .com perspective. And then I come in with the advertising and the marketing tools for Walmart.com. So the three of us work very closely together on several accounts. And that's pretty much how we cohesively as Vendo Team Direct across most of our brands that are in Walmart brick and mortar and are pushing on Walmart.com.
Michelle, I think that what you just said is critical for people listening. Is it's not siloed where one person's doing this and one person's doing this and there's very little communication. We're integrated on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, talking all the time, because we're working collectively as a team for our clients. And so when we're presenting things to clients, we're not talking about, and here's what we're doing in this one channel. We're working through an omni strategy that is not just about item placement online or in store, but it's also about how are we driving conversion through traffic, and what are we doing around search? How are we taking the various levers that we have control over to drive more awareness of the product, traffic to the product, not just online, but then in store? How are we integrating media that our clients are spending on product tied to search that is going to grow volume across the box and online, that is going to help us sell more product, get more product in customers' hands? We're doing that together. We're not doing that separately and then on a weekly call trying to figure out how it merges. And I think that is what separates us a lot from other people that do what we do.
Absolutely.
On the front side of the integration, and then presenting that as a holistic group. And that's the challenge. You have Walmart, who is going through this change, and a lot of buyers are learning things that they now have responsibility for, what they can and cannot, where they had teams that did it previously that they interacted with periodically. We become trusted advisors as we help to grow their collective business in these channels.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you hit the nail on the head with that one. Shelby, you kind of want to speak on how these relationship between us and our relationships with the buyers has impacted the crucial pieces of content where we need to hit that 95% score, which is required by Walmart now.
Yeah, for sure. So whenever Ryan approaches the merchant, there's certain things that they still want to see on the .com side. The very basic requirements are a good product title. They want at least 8 images. And then there's also copy requirements, and then at least a 4-star rating, and then or greater, and then at least 20 reviews. That's just like the basic to kind of start off at a good standing. And then beyond that, we can help with attribution, which is just extra information about the product, which can also be category specific. And Walmart also will have a style guide of things that they would really like to see from those categories. So as we optimize that content and how important it is to get it optimized, then that's leverage for Ryan, and then the store and the .com side can be more in sync and the products will look good everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to follow up on that, Ryan, do you want to speak to how buyers are now requiring items to be launched before they're in stores on .com?
You bet. What we're finding, and this is not specific to a department, this is across all of Walmart in that they want to seed the market online before an item ever gets in store. What they're trying to do, in rightfully, so they find that they get higher conversion when items are rated 4 points or higher on their own items and have so many reviews. It's a validation that this is a good item and that a customer should purchase. So in seeding the market prior to a modular change within the store side, they're asking for those items to come online earlier, building those ratings and reviews so that by the time the item goes live in a store, it already is coming into the marketplace with strong ratings and reviews as a validator for why the item in the assortment is the right item for the customer within that. So that just puts the work on us to, one, you have to plan appropriately, especially depending on the category and where the product's manufactured and the timing of which. How are we getting product in earlier? How are we doing all of the frontline work together to build out a robust item page so that we're hitting all of the metrics that are expected of us on the front side so that the customer experience, not 5 months after the item launches in the store, but on the front side is a really strong experience online as that grows into. And then the real work is not once it's launched, it's on the weekly making sure that nothing falls off. As anything digital, you find that things that you did last week fall off for some reason, or an attribute that was added is lost. And so making sure that it's not a set it and forget it, that we're in the details every week, looking through those item pages. And what you're even finding now is buyers who are wanting weekly updates on those types of statistics and the work that we're doing, because it helps them stay on top of what they're getting asked internally in terms of item performance, in terms of ratings, reviews. We're even seeing, which is an interesting aspect as these things come together, where an item's online rating can influence whether an item stays in a store modular assortment or goes away. So they're using it as a quality qualifier to ensure that the product can stand on its own.
So just a kind of an off the wall question for you. Do you think this is impacting smaller suppliers more than large suppliers that have the resources to get all this content? Or my perspective, that's where Vendo comes in, right? And we provide those extra resources, but just curious what your thoughts are on that, Ryan.
I think it depends on the product category. I think that there are smaller companies that are launching online before they ever decide to get into retail. And so they're building a business thinking through online before they ever try to step foot into retail of any kind. And so in those cases, you're finding that they're ahead of the curve in a lot of these in terms of thinking about item pages and branding within that item page and search, because they're generating revenue and growing their business from an online start. Where you have others, and you see this more in hard lines type of businesses, that great item, and now we want to bring it to market. And I think that's where we offer a really valuable resource from our experience, is really coming up and helping them think through a go-to-market strategy that ties the two together. Because you can no longer try to get an item in a store and then figure out the e-commerce portion of that. You have to come to the meeting prepared to talk about how we're going to do both at the same time. And so I think that you're finding people and customers or brands or clients, however you look, that have those items. That's where it will be a challenge. And that's where we come to play, I think, in a really resourceful way of helping them think through that.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Shelby, do you have any other comments related to that?
Yeah, well, a previous point I was going to make too that I don't think is really thought about a lot is whenever a customer views an item online to go in store and purchase it, that's another way that our relationships are super tied together, because we want it to look good on site to make them want to go in store and buy it, because if it doesn't look good, they probably won't. But also based on what Ryan was just saying, I think that the starting point, if they're starting out right now and start with .com in the item pages, that gives Ryan the leverage to get it in store. Whereas if it's an existing brand that's had items and now their pages need work, it can also still be taken out of stores if we don't help, or if they don't have a team that can help get it to where it needs to be. So either way, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am definitely one of the people that walk around Walmart with my phone out, reading like reviews if it's something that I haven't previously purchased. I did it yesterday with some humidifiers. Like, I do think that the app is super resourceful, and even if you're using it on your browser, and of course, Vendo can help with all of that alongside Team Direct, because we do have a full in-house creative team that can build and put together any of those content pieces for Walmart.com. Yeah, well, I think we covered a lot for our listeners, and they have a lot to digest. But so just an overview of what we covered today was we hit on the Omni strategy that is now very embedded into Walmart, and just some tips and tricks that we have related to our relationships with Walmart and our relationships with our two companies, Team Direct and Vendo. Brian, Shelby, any last remarks from you guys?
I would say I've been in retail for 20 years now, and this is one of the most exciting times in retail because where the internet has really started to change the game around products and knowledge. There's so much information now at your fingertips, and there's an entire generation. I think about my kids that don't recall a time when I was their age where you made your weekly trip to the different stores that were very specific to a category because that's what you had to get. And my kids are growing up with everything access in the world's tiniest computer as a phone and can get any piece of information or buy anything at any time when they want. And so it is an awesome time in retail. And I think it's a fun time for us because we're getting to work through how we change and evolve for our clients so that they're in that consideration set as this next generation changes shopping behaviors. And I'm really excited about, okay, what does the next 5 and 10 years down the road look like as all these new technologies exist and how we lean into those to help better service clients and make Walmart and Sam's the destination to purchase all of that product. So it's an exciting time in retail. And I'm just lucky I get to partner with you guys and work with you guys every day so that we can solve all those problems for our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of build off of that, I think the last year has been exciting. Like, I know COVID, it's a global pandemic and there's nothing happy about that situation, but our job has changed so drastically. Our Vendo has experienced like 2+ growth on our Walmart.com team, and we're working with you now more cohesively than ever. And it's amazing to see our growth year over year, and I'm excited to see what's going to come 5 years from now as well. All right, well, thanks guys for joining on the podcast with me. It's been great. Thanks for all your helpful insights, and I'm sure we'll talk later today.